I just received some wonderful happy mail. Do you all see how I went from this to this? I'm Ceri the Crafter, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and I had a bit of happy mail. Sorry, had to do a really quick cut there because Joan left her address on this box. How am I supposed to know it's on the inside as well as the outside? Right, that has got so much tape on it. Joan didn't expect this to get wet, didn't expect it to get broken into, so unfortunately I'm not going to, actually I probably can. Yes, I might be harvesting some of that for another project. So, nice little box. Let's have a little look in here. There you go. Now, in 2025, which it is, myself and the other stable of designers at PM Artist Studio are going to be, let's put that to one side, are going to be launching our own products, and we're going to be sending our products to each other so we can do a bit of promotion of our arts and our skills and our challenges. So you're probably going to see one or two more of these of me from other design. I'm extremely happy at these. I'm not overly sure what those are. I'm not going to know the names of things, guys. So what I will try and do, well, not try and do, what I will do is I'll put Joan's name into the search engine of PM Artist Studio. Then everything Joan has designed for PM Artist Studio will be in that description box link. And then you go in and do a bit of a scroll through, because I'm seriously not going to know what all these are. But I am excited by quite a lot of the things in here. Or should I say everything, right? Ziploc bag, love a Ziploc bag. So let's have a go first, right? I saw these being launched, but I can't remember what they're called. I am so bad with names. I'm absolutely horrible with names. And it goes in the family. I remember my mother used to be notorious. She'd go out to the garden to call the dog in and call the dog in by either my sister or my name. I like the abstract thing of this. Now, why do I feel one of these links with another one? I seem to remember the launch of these. Okay, loving those. Oh, that's a cute little thing. That's beautiful. I love the intricacy of that. And I love that. So before I get into the stencils or the masks or whatever you call them, all of these foam stamps, there is no way I'm going to use all of these in one go. So what I'll do is I will select a couple of them to use in a quick little project now. However, look out for them in the future, because I'll use them. Obviously, I'll use them. So look out in the future. And if I can remember who did these in the future, I will always tag that person, okay? So put those to one side. So let's put the blade by Griffiths before I slice one of my digits off. So, oh, masks. Oh, right. Okay, so that mask is actually a large version of that stamp. This mask is actually a large version of this. This mask is a large version of that. This is a smaller version of this. I'm loving these. I don't have a lot of masks. I have a lot of stencils, but not so much masks. Okay, these two are cute. These are a mask of that. So there you go. You can, depend on how you like to work. You've got the option of masks, or you've got the options of foam stamps. That one's a one on its own. Oh, come on. Oh, I like that. That's interesting. It's almost got like an alien plant form to it. Oh, Joan, you've been very gracious in sending me all these. Thank you. That is a version of that. Is that one here? Oh, that is the version of that. Now, some people are probably thinking, oh, it's an either or. Do I buy stencils and masks, or do I buy foam stamps? Each of them offers different things to be able to be done. Okay, so don't think if you've got this, oops, I dropped it. If you've got this, I don't need this. That's the wrong one to pick up, wasn't it? If I've got this, I don't need this. You can use both for different things. So different techniques as you go along. Have I seen that one already? Now that's another one of those. Oh, this one's very fragile. Knowing me, I'd break that. I like sections of it there. I mean the sectioning of it, not section. I like the compartments of it, should I say. Loving that. We've already seen that one, have we? No, we haven't. It's this one. And do I see this one? That was the one I've just picked up. There's two more of those. And we've already seen that, but it's in a bigger size. Right. So what am I going to do today? I want to just do a little bit of a play, an unexpected project. So I'm just trying to think, what would I do as an unexpected project? I'm liking the movement in a lot of these. I'm thinking if I did a couple of things on a gel plate to create a background, trying to work out what I think might go together. And then I could come in and stamp detail over the top. Right, have a look at those two. Joan, you've sent me enough to keep me going for weeks. Right, and I did have a couple of these in here. Right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 minutes, because obviously I'm not ready for any of this because I didn't know what was in the box. And I think I'm going to pull out a gel plate and I'm going to make a background with the masks and then stamp detail over the top. So I think I want to use that one. I want to use this one as well. I'll find it. Where are you? That one as well, right? That are those ones. And I quite like these, so we'll keep those out. I won't keep that out. I like this. Right, all of these are going to go to one side. Joan, you will see them in future videos. Everybody, you will see them in future videos. I might actually have to put a little box together just marked Joan. In fact, well, I'm thinking about it. Let's do it. So if I put all of these in here, I can put Joan label on here. And then in the future, when I do it, I can link back to this video. And if I have done something when I've done it, if you look in the description of this box, you'll see a link to it. How I spell the last name? Joan Miron. Right, and that can go there. Right, that's another project for another day. Okay. Bear with me, guys. Going to turn you off for 2 seconds just while I get some gel printing stuff out and see what we can come up with. And I think I'm ready to go. Right, I've got a 9, is this a 9? I think it's a 9x12 gel press, and I've got a 5x7 gel press. Got my 4-inch speedball brayer. I've cut a 12x12 down into a 12x8 because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make 4 abstract 6x4s that can be postcards, they could be journal cards, they could be greetings cards, toppers. And because I cut off the extra 4, I've created 2 little pieces for cleanup. So we're going to see what I come up with. So first of all, I want to get some colour down on here, just so that my overall background colour isn't white. Because you know what it's like, you try covering up white and it's a real struggle. So I think I'm going to go with, what's this? I've got white out. I do have white out. Right, I tend to use this. I think this must be like an Indian yellow or something along those lines. I tend to use this as my palette before putting paint on. Oh, that's a nasty one on there. Before putting paint onto the main piece, because that way I don't get those blotchy marks. Leave the white out. I'm sure I'm going to use that. So just going to mix it up ever so fractionally. I don't need it to be incredibly well mixed. In fact, I'd rather it wasn't well mixed. And that reason is because it gives me an interesting background to start with. So come in, just Pop that down. I'm going to need a bit of tissue, aren't I? Just a bit of tissue on here so I don't get paint all over my hands. I'm going to get paint over my hands anyway, but this at least will help reduce it slightly. So, and then where I've got white pieces on here, I would just come in and pick up whatever I can with those white pieces so I don't end up with them. So you can see I've very quickly given myself a background to work with. Right, there you go. So let's leave that to dry. And we've got this on the go. Let's get our 2 other postcards, which are basically just going to be things I'm creating out of cleanups as we go along. These will just be a bonus piece. I'm not planning on the spare ones to be absolute works of art. They're just cleanups, but I mean, anyone who does gel work or gel print work knows usually the cleanups are better than the real thing. Right, that's another nice one. Let's just get this on here to clean this off. So now I've got a background. I'm going to actually start by doing, I'm going to do quite, I would call it a long haul if I was going to make it a long time, but I'm not. I'm going to put pieces down here, these pieces, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put paint over them and then pick them off afterwards. So I'm going to press it down now. These are new masks, and this is a clean plate, so things should stick beautifully to it, but I will always err on the side of caution. Let's pop that in there. Now I don't want to avoid the edges, but I don't need to go all the way. Let's move you across. I'm just trying to compose something that will be of interest. And that one does need to be, I'll put this one down first. Now, if you've got a brand new Yupo, and these are made by PM Artist Studio, and they're made from Yupo, which is 100% polypropylene plastic, I believe it's called. I get so confused with the big words, guys. Right, I think that's okay because I will be stamping afterwards anyway. Let's pull that a little bit more. So now that I've got my pieces down here, I'm going to layer up paints, and as I layer up, I'm going to pull pieces off, pull pieces off, pull pieces off, until I get to the point where I'll do my final pull, which will be with this. In the interim time, I'm going to pull with tissue. And I'm pulling with tissue purely because that will give me, what am I trying to say? It will give me interesting papers for future work. And in March, I'm running Mixed Media March 25, which one of the requirements is that you use something generated from a gel plate or a printable that's been generated by stuff from a gel plate. Sorry, I didn't show you what these are. That's what these are. I'm only using shimmers just to get some sort of layer down here. And it'll also help seal things down to the plate a little more than it was. Now, I'm not worried that I don't have a lot on here. This for me is just about getting paint down to start with. And then anything that's left on there can just get picked up on our 2 funky little pieces that are going to one side. See, just building up, building up, building up. Now I've got that down, and now I want something a bit more vibrant behind it. And I'm thinking of maybe a red. What's this? Ever got one of these bottles? Put your finger over the top. Goodness knows I have. I have decorated curtains before now because I've inadvertently not put my finger over the top, and I was in such a hurry the last time I used it that I didn't seal it up, did I? So again, coming in, just putting some of this on here. And what I'm aiming to do is I want to build up the paint around the inside edges of these masks. And what that will do is it will then, when I lift it off, it'll give me a really interesting outline. So let's get a bit of tissue. Let's use the piece that we were cleaning up with before. And just come in. Now, I'm not going to work it too much because I don't want to lift everything off. But I do want to lift something off. So there you go. Already I've got a nice piece for using later on. Now, there's probably, well, not probably, there is more on there, but I don't fancy taking it off just yet because I want to add another colour to it. Oh, that's a pretty colour combination. Right, so we've got that. Let's add a bit of red now. That's more of a, what am I trying to say? More of a, come on, Griffiths, get it together. More of a thicker consistency. Oh, what is it with me not cleaning paints? And again, as I said, I'm just working to get something on here. I am not planning on an absolutely perfect covering of anything. I'm just looking for variety. Another sheet of tissue. This is wet strength tissue, by the way. It's not gift wrap tissue. I know you see me use gift wrap tissue a lot. This isn't it. See, that's an interesting thing. And as we progress, I may pick it up with the same piece twice, but change the orientation. Let's bring in a bit of blue, because if I put blue with this, and I think this is a metallic or a shimmer, what it will do is it'll give it sort of a purplish look. I'm going to pick up the first one we did. Now I know this was at the top, so if I turn it the opposite direction, I'm now getting a different version of the same pattern, which will then mask out some other areas than it did the last time. See what I mean? So I'm getting multicolours here. And actually I want to take a little bit more off there. Now, if I was doing a traditional long haul, I'd probably be expecting to get a lot more off than I am here. I would probably pull 20 or 30, if not more, pieces of tissue in the process of doing this, but that's not what I'm about today. I just want to play and have some fun with these fabulous pieces. Those are looking really interesting. Right, now what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of white to this. So I'm staying within the same colour families because I'm reusing the same colour paints. Again, bray that out a bit. I don't want it to be perfect, remember. Tissue. Interesting. Now I think I want to pull up one more off there, just to give this a bit of a clean up. And my aim is to try and create lines around these. So that's a subtle one. Now I've got stuff on here that is really nice, but I don't think I want to do much more onto these. Maybe just a little tiny bit here and there, because those are lovely and I don't want to destroy those. Now, whenever you're using anything that's Yupo, or Mylar, or thin plastic, paper, cardboard, whichever you're using, respect your stencil. There's a certain amount of suction to the plate, so you want to pick it off gently. If you go yanking it off, you're likely to damage because no matter what you're working with, you will damage it. Even if it's a metal stencil, if you yank on it, you will bend it, you will warp it. You will never get it back to what it was before. So I'm just slipping the end of my fingernail in, and I'm gently lifting, letting the design tell me when it's resisting, and then I just pull it up gently. So you can see I've got some interesting stuff on here now. There you go. Right, I'm just going to take a little bit of the white, only a little bit. I'm just going to brayer it out, just a thin coat, and I'm going to take some of the stamps, and I'm going to come in and I'm just going to put blocks of them on here. Now I'm going to put this face down on my damp cloth so that I can actually use it again. Also, by putting it on a damp cloth, it means that I don't inadvertently let it dry out, because if it dries out and the acrylic paint dries onto the surface of here, I'd be at a bit of a loss as to what to do next time. If I wanted to stamp with inks, of course, it would lose its porous surface because the acrylic paint will have masked it. I wasn't planning on doing a border, so I'm not going to do one. Right, I don't mind there's gaps there because there's going to need to be gaps anyway. Right, let's take that out of the way. Put that to one side. Let's bring in these. Oh, come here, you two. Excuse my arm. Can I use these two? And I'm just going to pick up pieces. Now, I'm usually pressing slightly in the center to make sure it's got full coverage. And then I press again in the center and I gently press around. I don't bash it and I don't squish it down really hard. I don't believe it requires that. If you do, you do you. I find I get better results with less slippage and less movement if I just do what I've just done here. And I think I want one of each of these. Now these are not finished, obviously. They will have more done, but those are becoming beautiful. Right, let's put these on this damp cloth so they don't dry out, and have a bit of a clean up over here. So, right, give me 2 seconds, guys. I just need to have a bit of a clean up of my space because I'm letting this fully dry before I pick it up. Okay, back in 2 seconds. And I'm back, and in that time that I was doing that, this is now fully dried, as you can see. The paint here is just from previous rubbing. So what I'm going to do is I now need to pick this detail up and put it onto here. Now, I chose this yellowish type of colour because I want to use transparent red iron oxide, which is really quite a rich colour, and it pulls quite well for me. Fingers crossed it pulls quite well for me. So I'm going to put a thin layer of that paint on there and then pull this down and pick up this design. So again, finger over the tip. And that's the reason, another reason I do it is because it bubbles. Now, I know it's just the one colour, and I put it over here. That's because I'm notorious for putting too much of the fluid acrylics down. So just wipe the nozzle of this, because otherwise I will get it everywhere. I'm notorious for putting too much on this plate. I'm easier to judge it if I put it onto the plate by the side, because I don't want this so thick that it actually doesn't allow me to pull. And if it doesn't pull off, that's also not a problem. I mean, it would be nice if it did, but that's the joy of gel print. You never fully know what you're going to get until you pull the paper up. Right, let's having a look at the plate. That looks as if it's got enough on it. Let's get this down before it totally dries out. Right, now we know that my plate, my piece of card is slightly larger than my plate lengthwise, so I'm probably going to have to do a bit of jiggery pokery with the top. I'll sort that out. Now, there is a piece of equipment I can be using for this, and it's called a baron. And a baron is this. They come in different sort of styles and sizes, but basically it's like a giant doorknob, and it helps you press down, and it saves your wrist, to be honest with you. It also means I've got a good chance of getting all of the surface in contact with the paper, and I'm liking that. This was made by Cody Woodcraft in, he's on Etsy, Cody Woodcraft on Etsy. It's Anthony that makes them, and he makes each one is a unique piece of art, and he's on Etsy USA. Right. Let's pull that off there. Right, well, I've got this on the go. I think I'm going to come in and just touch a little bit of this onto here, just to give a bit more richness to some of the colours on here. Sorry, I keep putting my arm in the shot, but there's no other way I can do for reaching over there. I'm liking this. I like those a lot. A lot. So as a designer, and I know the other designers feel this way as well, I always find it interesting that when you design a product, in your mind you have a use for that product. And then when it gets into other people's hands and you see what they do with it, that's fascinating to me, to see how your design can actually inspire someone to do something completely different to what you expected. Right. So this should be okay. A quick flip and have a look. Right, my gel presses are stained. They're old. Believe me, they are old, which is why they've got this discoloration. They've been cleaned, they've been conditioned, but after a while, you find that things just don't get clean anymore. That's a good sign. Okay, that's given me something really nice. I'm liking that. So I'm just thinking how I take this to another step. Right, I want to come in. I think I'm going to give it another coat of this. I was hoping it was going to be richer in colour, but what has happened is, with the layers I was building up, there's a film on the plate itself, so that means that didn't come out as vibrant as I expected. So just put that down there and wipe its little beak off. And then we're just going to tickle it up with a bit of stamping, maybe some other texture stuff on there, mark making possibly. Just come down and pop on there. Let's just pick up these pieces on the edge. There you go. That's given me a lot richer look than I had before. So I just need to clean that up. I'd quite like to tap that. I'm only putting it on here because it'll suction down to this and then you'll be able to see it. I do want to do some other pieces on here. I said I wanted some gold on here. So where's the gold gone? There you go. I knew I had it somewhere. Right. A little bit of gold. I'm just going to load up my brayer and I'm going to skim certain areas. And what that will do as you can see, it will catch the light. Leave that by there. Let's bring in some of these and just touch down a little bit to get some on these. I would like a little bit of a grid or lines or something in here. That might work. This is plastic. I call it Ada, but it's plastic embroidery stuff you pick up in the craft store. I want to put something in here that's reasonably dark but not overpowering. Should I go with a dark brown? Maybe a dark brown will do. Remember, I'm looking for subtle, subtle, subtle. That's what I'm looking for, is that. Loving that. Let's bring these little beauties in. Probably get both of these done at the same time. There you go. That can go back in the drawer. Right, now I've got the initial stamps that are not on here yet to go back in. And the question is, what do I want to do them in? I am leaning to the thought of doing them in bright red. So I need to remember that this will be cut down the middle and this will be cut down the middle. Is that right? That's 6, that's 4, 8, yes. I'm doing 6 by 4 because I've got 5 by 7 blank card fronts, or I can do a 6 by 4 postcard. So basically, that'll be one, that'll be one, that'll be one, that'll be one. And I do think red. What sort of red have I got? Well, I've got this red, which is a mix pot, and I've got this cadmium deep. Yeah, I think we can use some of that. Let's just pop it out while I've got it there. That's probably way too much. I'm hoping that's not too orangey. It looks a little bit orangey. Let's add a little bit of this to it to just counterbalance that orangeness down. Now, these have got white on them, so I'm going to give them a gentle wipe on my damp cloth just to pick off the most of it. Okay? And now I just need to bray this out. Now, I don't need a huge coating of it. Yeah, I think that colour will do. Right, pick this up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this off once onto the tissue. Just because then if there's any white on there, it will have come off. Now, I'm quite picky about horizontal and verticals. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to place this quite deliberately. Press it down gently. Yes, that worked fine for me. And I'm going to do it in 2 places. And I'm going to do the same with each of the designs. And actually, you won't be able to see me, but I'm going to do those 2 little postcards on the side. And I'm only going to do it with this stamp because I really like this one. So as you can see, I've just done them on there and done it on there. Right, this one can go back on the damp cloth. Again, I'm going to stamp it on and then stamp it off onto tissue, just in case there was any white on there. Now, the reason you may see me do something like this occasionally is because if the paint is puckering on the back of the stamp, on the front of the stamp, I can take it off. Let's do this there. Okay, not the most exact, but what I want to do is I want to then turn this round and press it in the other direction so it's a symmetrical design. Pity it's not straight, but then, you know, that's fine. I wonder if I can get this one. So I get this one relatively straight. Now, obviously, I'm not going to know what these look like until we actually take it all off here. So, okay, it does need something more. That's fine. No problem there. Right, I'm going to have to pause for a second because I will clean that paint up onto maybe a book page or something. I want to make sure that everything's nice and clean before I do the next step. And I want this to dry just a little bit. So, see you in 2 seconds, guys. So there you go, nicely cleaned up. I'm getting on with the next bit now. So this is where we're working with now. These are still a bit wet because obviously I'm still working with them. I now want to come in with some white, and I'm going to just put some circles on here. Now, I'm just using this. This is just a gadget I made. It's just the inners of washi tape, and I've just stuck them together, and I use it to create circles on stuff. I just want something that is round on these. So I'm going to come in, tap it down, and I just want to put circles. Circles always seem to create movement for me. Oops. Because I've got an idea of one more thing I want to do after this. Do with that circle being a bit more whole. Oops, don't drop it. And I'm going to come in on circles on here as well. You can't go wrong with circles, basically. I love circles. So I'm really loving this. I'm loving the clean off ones as well. So yes, I think we could do with just a little bit in there to go across both designs. Right, this, I never clean this. I just let it sit, and what it does is it just builds up and up and up. So here we are. I've given them a little bit of a hairdryer as well, just to dry them a little bit more. I'm now on to the final stages. I love the intricacy of the design at the back coming through. That was a really good move. I'm loving the cleanups. That's fabulous. I love this design. It's, part of me would say probably people are going to say this looks quite oriental. To me, it looks quite alien. So take away what you will. So I'm going to use black, and I've pulled this one out of the box that Joan sent me as well. And I'm going to use this on here now. Now I'm going to have to do something a bit sneaky because we're not cutting this up until the last minute. But I need to know where I'm placing them. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that as I do it. So just spray out. This is just Mars Black. Is this Mars Black? It's Payne's Grey. Well, I guess it's going to be Payne's Grey then. I thought that looked a bit more blue than black. Now, because I want to know roughly where the positioning are on here, and I did say roughly, I'm going to put on here the postcards that I know are already the right size. So I'm going to come in, load up this. Remember, perfect is never the name of the game. I'm going to stamp that down. And I'll work on this one next. That's lovely. I'm going to work on that by there. I think I can judge this one myself, actually. Let's put it right there. And this one, bit of indecision happening there. Right, we'll see what those look like afterwards. Now these, I'm just going to put some on here. And then something I want to do on this one is I'm just going to put a bit of kitchen paper down just to protect my surface. To show you something else you can do with a stamp like this is I would normally start in the middle and put it on its edge. And then by coming along, I can give myself a really nice lacy border with that. There you go, just another option. So unfortunately, it's clean up and dry time, and then we're going to do some cutting. And I'm back, and it's all nice and dry, so I can cut it now. So loving these. Remember, these were the clean-offs, and I'm loving this. I can't wait to see what it looks like, though, when they're cut into the right dimensions, and it'll focus down on the pieces here. Always a surprise. Now, I could always come in and leave that as it is. I could come in and cut this into ATCs or artist trading cards, which are 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. I could do that. There are lots of things I could do. I'm probably going to leave them as postcard sizes. And in the future, if I feel I want to put them onto a blank greetings card, I could. If I want to put them into an arty journal, I could also do that. I will back them, especially if they're going to be written on, because I can't help it. I'll always make things messy. So hopefully Joan's enjoyed this. So I'm sure she has. So right, we got it this way, weren't we? So I know this is 8. So I need to cut it into 4. Straight. And then we need to cut it into 6. Come on, out you come. And 6. Let's put this by. So let's do a little bit of a close-up of each of them. Let's look at the 2 you've already seen as we've been going along. Now, I didn't design these with a vertical in mind, a horizontal in mind, with a portrait, with their landscape, but I actually quite like the weight of this at the bottom. So that looks like a really large postage stamp. But here, I like this. It's got some weight to it. Again, I don't mind the weight of that there. I don't mind if it's there either. I would always avoid putting anything square in the top right-hand corner of anything I create, because it always looks like a postage stamp. I think I'm drawn to it that way, to be honest. I love the way all of the layers have come through. And yes, you can still see the stuff in the background, the stuff we stamped first. Now let's take a look at the ones that the real project. Okay, loving that. I love the way you've got all, if you look into it, you can look deep, deep into it. Again, would I have a preference? Oh, that looks like an eye, a mouth. Looks like he's got earmuffs on. It looks like somebody's looking in that direction. I'm not sure which direction I put that one in. This is the one that really strikes me like alien symbolism. I love all of this in the background. Now, if you were to do a long haul, you would do many, many more layers of paint and make that much more intricate. I do like that. That's lovely. Oh, this one's a busy one. I like the way that circle went around that spiral. Not intentional, happy accident. I also like, you may have noticed if I'll tilt it, remember I put the pearlescence on here first, the purple and I think it was a blue or something I put on there that was that shuttle art paint that's got a shimmer to it. It did show all the way through to the beginning of the front. This is crying out for something down there, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm happy with those. Well, Joan, hopefully you enjoyed that as much as I did. Thank you very much for the gift. It was an absolute pleasure to work with your designs. It was just beautiful. Thank you. And don't forget, guys, there will be more coming from this box of goodies that I've been sent, because I couldn't get it all into one, obviously. So I'm not sure what I'll do next time, but for the moment, I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Craft. Until next time, goodbye. Thanks, Joan.